We gotta check in on the DC universe. Here's where we were. Here's where we are today.
I have this question for all the woke feminists out there.
I just finished watching this show, and it's the weirdest thing I've seen in a long time. I'm just gonna say it, DC is so much better than Marvel. I don't even think it's really close, but if you were a kid growing up today, you would have no clue what I'm talking about. I grew up with Justice League Unlimited, Batman the Animated Series, the Arkham games. These days, all we have to go on is the Marvel Cinematic Universe versus the failed Zack Snyder DC experiment. So I don't blame these kids for liking Marvel more than DC, we just haven't gotten any good DC content on the big screen in quite some time now. So where's DC at today? Well, it's in a kind of interesting spot. They're completely resetting everything, and they're hiring James Gunn to take complete control and bring it in a new direction. You see, DC's been pocket watching Marvel for a while. They really want the commercial success that Marvel has with the Avengers and their expanded universe, and their way of doing that is trying to emulate and copy everything that they do, by even buying the directors that work on Marvel films. They tried it before with Joss Whedon to cut up their Justice League movie, and that turned out like shit. So now that we see the success of the Guardians of the Galaxy films, they want to hire James Gunn to work on the DC universe? Let's just stay positive and hope for the best. He did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies after all, and those were pretty good. You might have thought that the new Superman movie is going to be the start of the new DCU. If you thought that though, you'd be incorrect. James Gunn is starting this DC universe with a show called Creature Commandos, which is pretty much like the Suicide Squad except with monsters instead. This is going to tie in directly to the movies, and it's going to give us a little bit of insight as to what James has in store for the new universe. But we're going to take a look at it together real quick. We'll go through the episodes. In this show, we're bringing back Amanda Waller, and instead of her being like this...
Who are you?
That's a national security matter. And if I were you, I wouldn't probe the situation too closely. Rich boy.
She's now like this.
What are the charges?
By charging you with first-degree witchy poo and Maleficent in the second degree.
Oh, and Bette Midler in that one movie in the third degree.
That's an actress, John. That's not a character's name.
He's talking about Hocus Pocus.
Again, not a character.
Waller and Rick Flag canonically watch Hocus Pocus. Bringing back Rick Flag, and instead of him being like this...
Got one advantage. This tower's so big and there's so much staff on it, no one's going to notice us. Unless one of you does something stupid.
He's now like this.
Now, hold on a minute. No one briefed me on what kind of bow.
For a minute, I think you're going to make mess in your pants, huh?
I was never gonna...
Very close to messing his pants.
I wasn't even in the vicinity of doing that.
It's like a trend now to turn the strong stoic characters into goofballs that are always the butt of the joke. And he's kind of a sexual predator that has a thing for younger girls, but we'll get there. We also got some other people you might recognize. The show starts out with a news clip showing what's going on in the world. There's an Amazonian woman named Cersei that's causing problems overseas. She runs a loyal group of right-wing extremist followers.
You tell me, oh dude, only women can live there? That is so sexist, bruh.
For all the woke feminists out there.
Why do only girls get such cool waterfalls?
His name is Critical Skeptic Fact Over Feelings 91. A little on the nose, don't you think, James?
All over the world, our rights as man are being denigrated.
What a bunch of clowns.
I'm not a fan of politics in my superhero TV shows. I don't think there's any need to split your audience in two. It's kind of stupid and off-putting, especially when it's the first thing said in the entire series. Then they dive even further into politics, making this huge meta-commentary on the US foreign relations with other countries, on how they're based on petroleum deposits and whatnot.
Pakistan is a friend of the U.S. True friendship is built on petroleum deposits, especially unmined ones in a backward-ass country that's never taken advantage of their natural resources.
This is supposed to be a cartoon about Creature Commandos, not James Gunn's personal Twitter account, ranting off his political opinions on the U.S. foreign affairs. Amanda Waller's real worried about this pending oil deal that the U.S. has with Pakistan, so Rick Flag needs to assemble a team of monsters and go down there to save the princess, so that way the oil deal goes through. It's supposed to be pretty important. I don't see why a big team of military men couldn't do the same thing that they're doing. One of those people is literally just a fish.
Get her in water, it's a different story.
She does nothing at all.
Nina Mazursky, the bride, Dr. Phosphorus, the weasel, It's known as GI Robot.
After Suicide Squad, Congress made it so you can't use human prisoners to send into war. So Amanda Waller had this genius idea that we'll use these people because these assholes aren't human.
Congress said we can't use human prisoners. These assholes aren't human.
She's not human?
Is a corpse human?
I'm pretty sure it is. Think so. Yes, a dead body is considered human. It still retains its status as a human being in legal contexts. Looks like you're cooked. Later in the series, it's shown that this guy's a human too, and so is Nina, the fish girl. She was born from two humans and she had a birth defect. Her lungs were formed outside of her body. That would mean someone born with Down syndrome or an extra toe would be considered a monster and not human.
Get her in water, it's a different story.
What an obscure use for this person. I doubt that'll ever come in handy.
The only way to get to her is under the water.
Give me a fucking break. The only way to get to her is under the water. Same concept to Suicide Squad. She's got this smartphone app where she can kill all the prisoners or electrocute them if she wants to. So they all have to follow their instructions and they gotta go overseas to go save this princess because of oil or something. James Gunn's really getting a big head, putting himself in the title sequence. Someone humbled this guy. Some really strange music choices in this show too.
Back to my hometown incognito to forget about it all. You don't ever give a call.
If I had a nickel for how many times I've seen this exact scene, falling in love in slow-mo with the music and shit.
We do the Super Bowl shuffle. We like to say, "What's
I like this character though, GI Robot. He really only gives a shit about Nazis.
Beautiful evening, isn't it?
I do not enjoy landscapes devoid of dead Nazis, Miss Nina.
Some of these characters are pretty cool. The way they structure the series is that each person gets a chance to shine each episode and they give you their backstory and whatnot. But they make the same mistake that every other anti-hero movie or show has been doing lately, which is they're not bad people. They're not anti-heroes. Most of these people are just heroes. They're all sympathetic characters. Just make them bad. We can handle it, I promise.
I'm happy to have the company.
Even that one? Supposedly murdered 27 children.
He murdered 27 children. Okay, let's just let him play around with the children here. And a few episodes later, we find out he didn't kill anybody.
Somebody left the back of the school open.
My guy Weasel was trying to save the kids, but unfortunately, the dumbest police department of all time pulled up.
Stop, police!
Yeah, just open fire on this thing, even though he's holding a kid. What officer is prioritizing arresting a fucking weasel rather than saving a child? He was running towards the door, you fucking assholes. I like Weasel too, I'm not gonna lie. He's got a lawyer and she's trying to get some emotion out of him to see if he really killed the kid. Then he just eats the fucking photo. So he's smart enough to follow orders and commands, but he can't communicate simple things like this. He's depicted to be a dumb animal that has no sense of himself, but he's following commands and killing the right people, saving the right people. I don't know why they even trust him to be interested in self-preservation. They've got a shot collar on him and a kill switch. How do you even know he understands the concept of that? He's also voiced by Sean Gunn, which is James Gunn's brother. When I heard those snarls and growls, I knew he was the right choice. No nepotism involved. Princess goes on to explain how she likes America compared to her country because we have a progressive society and her country holds on to its traditional values. Is that you in there, James? Are you trying to tell us something?
My country is a charming one, but it is backwards. Always rejecting progress as corrupt. It is my most cherished dream to lead my people into the 21st century.
Is it really the place of this superhero cartoon show to start saying things like this? Casting judgment on other countries for their traditional values? It's just a weird thing for this show to bring up.
She and I had a son when we were just 18. He passed on.
Now, even though Rick Flag's been feeling this princess, he recognizes that she's significantly younger than him, so he says that his son really would have gotten along with her.
I have a feeling you would have gotten on like a house on fire.
I'm much more fond of older men.
Then the show's like, nah, this 60-year-old man's gonna f this 18-year-old girl and you guys are gonna watch.
What is it you wanted to show me, Ilana?
This wonderful armor.
That's not an armoire.
Again, this is within the first 15 minutes of this series and the first 15 minutes of the start of the new DC universe. This really young girl's coming on to Rick Flag, and Rick Flag even announces, hey, this is not ethical. We can't be doing this.
I don't think this is exactly ethical.
Protect me from loneliness.
No.
From Pakistani men who have no clue how to treat a woman and who can't see me as the human being I am.
They try to say multiple times on how men in other countries sexualize their women too much and they see them as no more than objects. If that's the message you're going for, James, why are you sexualizing this woman so much in your TV show? I've never seen a woman in a superhero TV show sexualized as much as this woman. I don't think you really have a leg to stand on if that's the message you're trying to deliver to the audience, James.
Maybe you should just give him 30 seconds. You've seen the princess. I don't know how he could hold out for more than 30 seconds to you.
Richard.
What the f is going on in this show? The Frankenstein girl sneaks out of the house and the fish bitch follows her.
No one tried to stop you.
We're here to protect them. Why would they stop me?
And that's the end of episode 1. Episode 2 is where things get freaky, sexual as for no reason. They tell the backstory of Frankenstein and how Frankenstein wanted a wife so he could feel more human. So the doctor creates a woman just for him.
How is it fair that you know love and I do not?
Frankenstein's kind of an asshole. He's a complete dickhead the entire series.
The only fair remedy would be for me to destroy yours, Father.
Here's a fair warning. This episode gets really demented and twisted, so click off if you're sensitive to things like that. Dr. Victor Frankenstein creates a new life just for the monster so that he can have a wife. Frankenstein calls him father, so you can assume that this would be like his daughter. Remember that.
I picked her these flowers.
She must gather her senses.
These are for you.
It turns out she's really only comfortable around the doctor, and she has the brain of like a 2-year-old since she was just born. So the doctor has to teach her how to read and write and basically takes the fatherly role to teach her how to be a human being.
Cat.
Clothes. Hat.
Hat.
I mean, it also is a cat, smartass. And the Frankenstein monster has to sit there and be cuckolded the entire time because he's not getting any attention. And when I say cuckolded, Jesus Christ. As the episode goes on, there's sexual tension building between the bride and her apparent father, the doctor. And I thought it was all in my head. I thought I was making something completely innocent into something more, but no, the show never ceases to fucking shock me. She has the brain of like an 8-year-old at this point. She doesn't know anything except for her father. This is sexual abuse that I'm watching. How can it not be? But the show depicts it as something that's normal. She's still in love with him, and that's why she's still mad at Frankenstein's monster, because he ends up killing him. It's a reasonable crash out, not gonna lie. And meanwhile, back at the castle, there's some more freaky deaky shit going on. Rick Flag's licking his wounds, and he doubles down. He tells the princess, hey, you're too young, and I'm here to protect you. That would be abusing my power. That would be immoral.
Ilana, we can't go through this again.
But then all she has to do is kind of just, rub herself up on him, and he folds quick.
Do not treat me like a child, Richard.
Well, she is pretty mature for her age, so I guess, she pushes him up against the wall and then... And I don't want to be that guy, but what if the roles were reversed and it was a girl saying, no, stop, I don't want to do this, sorry, but this would be wrong. And it was a guy forcing himself on her, pushing her against the wall, saying, don't treat me like that. You know you want me. You know you want this. And then just continuing to try and make out with her and shit. That would be f***ed up.
Do not treat me like a child, Richard.
What's harder, making the grunting noises for a fight or making the grunting noises of getting it on in a bathroom?
I make sexual grunting noises all day long. It's weird. My kids really complain.
I haven't made sexual noises all day long at all.
Pakistani men who can't see me as the human being I am.
I wonder why they look at you that way. As this is happening, Cersei and all her right-wing extremist followers find the Frankenstein mansion so that way they can kill the bride and the fish girl. They heard about it at the castle, but they just had to wait for him to be done f***ing. All of this feels so weird to explain, but I promise that's exactly what happened.
Maybe you should just give him 30 seconds. I mean, you've seen the princess. I don't know how he could hold out for more than 30 seconds to you.
I'm not sure what abilities the Cersei girl has. It seems pretty fucking overpowered, though. And they end up like this. End of episode 2. Episode 3 is a little bit better. This episode focuses on G.I. Robot. He was made during World War II to fight the Nazis. He's programmed with one thing in mind, that's killing Nazis. He saves his fellow soldiers' lives and kills a ton of Nazis during the war, so when the war's over, he has no clue what to do.
Are you a Nazi?
No.
Oh.
He's a real simple being. He just wants to kill some Nazis. Unfortunately, there's no more Nazis for him to kill, so he ends up in a war memorabilia collector's hands. He decides to take G.I. Robot down to go hang out with the boys because they have to discuss their plans for a better country.
We're all interested in a better country.
Well, I guess his programming doesn't discriminate, so neo-Nazis are on the list too.
I thought he might be some help for the cause.
Glad to have a metal fist in the fight for what's right. Welcome all, a National Socialist Club.
Of course, G.I. Robot massacres all these neo-Nazis, and his arc is actually pretty satisfying. We didn't get a lot of G.I. Robot, but what we did get was peak. I liked it.
Are these Nazis, General?
Yeah, G.I. These are Nazis.
He's more than happy to kill all of these people thinking that they're Nazis, but then he just blows up and dies, so I guess that's the end of him.
That's enough of that.
Cersei almost kills the princess, but then Weasel comes in there and fucks her up. I guess she's no match for an animal like a third of her size. Mission success, episode 4 coming up. Rick Flag and the princess are getting closer together, and it's still just as weird as it was before.
Will you not be coming back to see me?
It's even more weird because it seems like they're leaning into the whole she's a little kid and he's an old man thing.
Do you not think it's best to just bong?
We say bang.
But it doesn't sound like bang. It sounds like bong. Bang!
Bang.
Bang!
No, bang.
Is this a fetish of yours, James? You have some sort of weird hidden father figure fetish that you just want to let out in your TV show?
Bang!
Bang.
Bang!
No, bang.
If I find out you have like some young intern that looks just like this princess.
The first person ever cast in the DCU was Maria, who, like, we had to cast her immediately because, you know,
He texted me, "Hello, Creature Commandos will come to you. I'm writing this like a Disney sort of a princess." And I was like, "No, is it really happening?" And then it happened.
Would you think like 60% chance he's hitting that? Maybe 80? I'm playing, I'm just joking, James. Is it a coincidence he made Flag look like him, though?
He animated him like a total dilf.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like, people are gonna be thirsting after this guy.
You're not the first person to say that.
no.
He's Delphi as
Way to
fuck.
go,
He's
buddy.
Delphi as fuck.
See how that compliment for a cartoon character satisfies his own ego? He's the writer of the story. Normally, writers put themselves in the protagonist's shoes. Just saying.
I do have the best video because we recorded them having sex.
Right.
Together, but I videotaped them on Zoom.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty normal thing to do. Let's videotape it so we can save that for later. In this episode, Frankenstein's looking for his bride still, and he gets jealous about Rick Flag because he thinks he's so dreamy and perfect in every way.
She loves his handsome, stupid face.
And Amanda Waller's trying to interrogate the Cersei girl and figure out what her plans are.
Why do all you supervillains need to be so sexed up all the time?
You like that, John?
I mean, sort of. It's a little thirsty.
Is that guy actually valuable to you in any way aside from comedic relief?
I was trying to kill her to save the world.
Oh, come on.
Apparently, the Cersei girl is a telepathic, future-telling person.
According to her file, she's possibly clairvoyant.
Which one is that again? Reading minds?
No, seeing the future.
Oh.
Or clairvoyant, I guess.
Oh.
So she shows Amanda Waller the future, and it looks like the princess is going to enslave humanity. She's gonna be a dictator with Gorilla Grodd, and the Justice League is all gonna die. By the way, this is our first look at the Justice League. Amanda Waller believes her, so she sends the commandos back to go kill the princess instead. I don't know how moral it is to preventatively kill somebody just because you see the future. Like, before they even did anything wrong, you're gonna kill them. They still have the opportunity to, like, not do that, I guess, right? I don't know if those charges are gonna stick. You might ask how she knows the vision is real, and well, it's because this professor said so.
All my research says Circe is in fact legitimately clairvoyant.
Meaning that she can only show the real future, but like, how would you even research that? What could you possibly do to prove that? Waller's going to assassinate somebody that didn't do anything yet off the word of this random professor without a second opinion. Rick Flag thinks it's all bullshit, so he ignores his orders and warns the princess. That's what I call whipped. He someone one time.
No, listen, the princess's life is in danger.
Then Frankenstein pulls up on him and they actually end up being best friends.
She's not my type.
She's everyone's type. So are you.
We can help each other.
Best friends.
Rick and Frankenstein go hunting for answers, and remember that professor from earlier? Turns out that she wasn't real. It's Clayface. Not only is she Clayface, she's also another sexual predator.
Hey there. I like that top on you. This is a class on theme mascara, right, gorgeous?
Seems to be a running theme in the show, just everyone's a sexual predator.
And
What about the lesbians?
Even worse than a sexual predator, she's an Xbox user. Really random product placement. So I guess the princess is innocent and she's not gonna take over the world. world. So does that mean the right-wing guys are actually the good people?
For all the woke feminists out there.
Rick Flag gets his ass beat by Clayface. Commandos get found out, so now they're at war with like the whole city. And we get some more backstory on Frankenstein in this episode. Basically, the point is he's a dickhead. He's an asshole.
I don't want to be alone.
I would never let you be alone.
Guess he didn't lie to her. Episode 6, we get into Phosphorus's background, and holy shit, why are these backstories so fucking dark? He made a bad deal with Rupert Thorne, who's a Batman villain.
Don't mess with Rupert Thorne!
Hold on a second, I know Dutch Vanderlyn's voice when I hear it.
How did the Pinkertons know about the bank job in Saint Denis, John? You want to tell me that? I gave you all the results! You gave me bullshit! Now it is my ass on the line!
Man, Benjamin Byron Davis gotta be one of the greatest working voice actors right now. I'm really glad he's getting more work. He's so distinct, that little voice crack and the way he emphasizes things.
I had a goddamn plan!
Matter of fact, I insist that he gets more voice acting roles.
Insist? Yeah. Insist.
But anyways, Dutch had another plan, and this one's a good one. He hired Dr. Phosphorus and his wife to find the cure for cancer or something, and he wanted to sell that information to a fascist regime so that they can make a bunch of money and whatever.
So you could make cancer go bye-bye to share with our friends overseas. A fascist regime.
Won't do business with a fascist regime. This guy let his entire family die because of his political beliefs. Let that be an example.
I try not to be so judgmental. It's business.
They made Rupert Thorne so cartoonishly evil.
Yeah, that's right. Get his prince in there good.
After murdering his wife and daughter, he throws him into a research chamber and it turns him into that skeleton thing that we see today.
Don't mess with Rupert Thorne!
Okay, I'll catch you later then.
He insists upon it. Insists.
The same guy that was so worried about fascist regimes goes to Rupert Thorne's house and murders his entire family along with plenty of other people. So many people that this random guy in a bat costume shows up. They never properly introduce him, so I'm not so sure who that's supposed to be. Rick Flag's still all messed up from the Clayface fight and he's not able to tell anybody what he found out. He thinks the princess is innocent, and we go to the next episode. This is the last one. I haven't really mentioned how much Frankenstein's in this show. He's constantly ranting about how he's gonna go get his bride back. Every episode he restates his goal to some random person and then kills them. But then as soon as he finds her, he instantly dies. That's it. That's the end of that guy.
My love, the princess.
Even though bullets haven't affected him the entire series. Not even her bullets. I don't know, I guess I just expected a little bit more. He's been looking for the bride since the first episode of the series, so the suspense has been building just for that to be the payoff. Now we're learning about the fish girl Nina because she's going to be important this episode. Finally, we have a body of water.
I need to kill the princess. The only way to get to her is under the water.
What do you mean, why can't I just shoot her? Isn't it pretty clear that the only way to get her is through the water? Why can't Phosphorus just blast her to... shut up! The only way is through...
We could have taken her off those machines.
Don't say that.
We still could.
No, Lily.
Nina's got a really sad story too. Her mother wants to do one of those post-birth abortions.
She's our baby girl.
She's yours.
Lily.
And her dad gets divorced in the process of defending her.
I'm gonna stay with my mother for a while.
Lily.
Her dad sends her to school and she gets bullied by the most cartoony and cliche bullies you could find.
Say ribbit, bitch. Yes, say ribbit. Ribbit. I said say ribbit, bitch.
And then the bully will say ribbit, bitch.
Say ribbit, bitch. Say ribbit, bitch.
James, I know this is how you used to get bullied in like the 30s, but no, that's not how bullies work anymore. I don't think you're getting any bitches in school if you're pushing girls into the locker and bullying the ugly kid. Then she runs away and her dad eventually finds her and her dad gets shot because the police in the show are f***ing ridiculous.
You were the greatest gift.
For whatever reason in this show, the police are raging psychopaths that just want to shoot things.
Police!
Okay, I'll catch you later then.
Fast forward to the future, Nina has to be the one to kill the princess because the only way is through the water. They're worried about alerting the guards, so she has to go in there real quiet. I mean, they're standing in a perimeter around the pool and in your direct line of sight. She swims up real close and almost gets her, but then Weasel blows their cover and then they're loud as shit for like 3 minutes and no guards come. Even though they're all within an earshot. I guess you didn't have to send her after all. No! Even the fucking birds heard that shit. Funny thing is, the only reason she's on this team is because she's supposed to be good in the water. When she's specifically needed for the water, she better do well. She ends up dying to this random human princess.
Get her in water, it's a different story.
In the water. What the fuck is the point of her being on this team? Rick Flag finally wakes up and tells Waller that it's all a hoax, the princess is innocent, and Waller calls in, but it's too late. But the Frankenstein girl crashes out because that was like her best friend, and she exposes the real truth. Apparently there's some double manipulation shit going on.
I think she was telling the truth about you. I saw Clayface on the tapes.
I hate this type of twist. It's not really a twist if you withheld the information just so you can have this moment. The character knew this before we did. It's not a twist. It's just, I guess, a reveal. So basically, if I'm getting this right, the right-wing extremists are the good guys trying to save the world.
First you seduced Flag to get him on your side, so you sent one of your knights to spy on us. He must have seen McPherson visit Waller, someone you'd know would back up Cersei's story.
In reality, that professor was real and the vision was real, but then she put Clayface in after.
Your only choice was to get your friend Clayface to make it look like she wasn't who she was.
She expected Rick Flag to go and investigate because she made him fall in love with her through the power of that would mean that she knew she was about to get killed by the Creature Commandos the entire time, but that doesn't match up at all. When they first arrived back to that country, all the guards were welcoming and they were going to bring all the commandos to the castle. It was only when Rick Flag called them and warned them that they diverted course.
Don't have any time, but the commandos are on their way to kill you.
He says there is unfortunate traffic on way to castle, so we should take alternative route.
And launched an attack on them. Everybody was friendly and they had full intention to go to the castle before that phone call, but they would have already known that.
I'm killing you because you took the life of the only friend I have.
So I guess the right-wing guys are the good guys in the end. Who knew?
Damn, all it took was some haughty princess to turn Flag into a complete moron. Dudes, am I right?
I know it seems like I've been hating on the show a lot, but I promise I actually enjoyed myself. I liked this show. I had a lot of fun watching it. I like the characters. I like their dynamics with each other. I think it was well written enough being a cartoon show. There's flavor to it. It's not stale. It's definitely not as bad as Batman the Caped Crusader, and if you want to watch my video on that, the link is in the description. I love that video. I don't like it as much as the old Justice League cartoons or the old Batman cartoons, but I don't really need to. I enjoyed myself. What can I say? It was cool. 6 out of 10. That's my final score. Anyways, see you guys later. Thanks for watching this video. Watch my other videos if you like this one, and definitely subscribe. Like the video if you haven't. It helps me out a lot in the algorithm, and it costs you nothing. Have a good day, my friends.
I said say ribbit, bitch.